All right, you're asking for it, so here it is.
Epicast.
Listen to this.
I want you fucking laughing at. We partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, all that.
Yo. All right. Welcome to our 217th episode of the Drinking Partners Podcast. Yes, this is our Doug Williams episode because he is the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl. We have the first Black Brew Festival. So we're Doug Williams of the craft game. We the Doug Williams of the craft game. We came in and threw for 340 and 4 touches, just like Doug. You know what I'm saying? We did it big. I am half of the hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I'm joined as always with my co-host, Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are the Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com /partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google.
We Googleable.
And Spotify under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. 217 episodes, man. Deuce 17, man. Like, we've been asking you, and we will continue to ask you, man. Please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review. That's how we know we're doing well. That's how we continue to do well. And that's how we let others know that we're doing well. So please, hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review.
Yo, I love how you just did that whole thing, chopped and screwed, bro. You just did that whole shit, chopped and screwed.
Had to cut it and tuck it.
Yo, at episode 2, listen, y'all been rocking with us for 216, now 217 episodes. You already know episode 2 or 2. It's straight like that. And look, every episode we say it, we're going to say it again. In lieu of rates and reviews, we do accept shots of Hennessy. All right, shout out to Car Guy DJ and the Conways for starting the trend. Yeah. Shout out to everybody who's continued that trend. Shout out to everybody who supported us in any fashion, supported our live shows, our comedy shows, Fresh Fest, all that shit, man. We appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? In lieu of rates, bring them shots of Henny.
Truth, man. And if you're looking for us, you can also find us down at Arcade Comedy Theater July 20th. Down in Arcade with
Dominic Greer.
Yeah.
The DC gang. DC chilling, PG chilling.
Got what was it, Hot Farm coming through?
Yeah, Hot Farm gonna do a special appearance. You know what I mean? I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and then July 27th we got Compton Theater. Yep. Got Helen Wildy down there.
Yeah, man. This is one of your last times you'll be able to see her because she's gonna be moving out of the city. She's taking that big leap of faith, man. We got to support, these locally grown artists who take that leap of faith because when she starts, selling out arenas. If she's seen you at Compton, she might send you a ticket. That's all I'm saying. You might get a ticket because she's on her way.
Get it while it's cheap, man. I mean, until she come back in here and them tickets go up. And then
Union Bros.
Yeah, Union Brothers out there. They're gonna bring a nice bevy of booze.
They bring a lot. They back the truck up and you get fucked up. Back the truck up so you get fucked up. Oh yeah,
dropping these man. You giving it it's cheap, man. You giving it away for cheap.
My bad, man. Hold on, let me take that back. Buzzy, you gotta edit that, man. They gotta pay us for that.
Yeah, but if you, looking for us, like I said, that's July 20th and July 27th, and as always, it's free craft beer and BYOB
and ampersand. In addition to, all right, bring your own. We'll bring you some that we think you should be drinking. We'll have a good time together. You bring your beer, we'll bring beer and bring the funny. All right, ladies, and ampersand. In addition to, don't walk up to us talking about, can we have some of this beer over there? Yes, motherfucker. That's why we have it for you to have it. You can't take all that home.
Truth. And then August 10th, we got Fresh Fest. August 10th, 2019, down at Nova Place. 47 local collaborations paired with artists, entrepreneurs, politicians. We've got 28 black brewers coming in from all around the country. We've got 15 live artists, 6 live musicians, 4 DJs. We've got Chef Kwame.
Chef Kwame.
1 podcast with Garrett Oliver.
Yo, the struggle is real. Make it happen. Fight through. Don't give up. This is like watching Tough Mudder. Come on, man. Come on, Day. Come on, Day.
And 3 days of events. FreshFestBeerFest.com.
Hey, it's going to be a movie. If you were there last year, you already know what it is. If you weren't there last year, you got a friend who was there and they told you what it was. Get your fucking tickets. All right, they're what at the time of recording right now, there are about 50 VIP tickets left. So by the time you listen to it, that could be
out of 150.
Yeah, by the time you listen to it, that number could be 3. I don't know.
Can't guarantee what that is at that point.
But that means get up and get it. All right, don't play around because this is a big thing, man. If you're doing big things out here. Yeah. Making moves, and in I guess in transition, making moves, brewing, all that jazz. We can get to our guests as typical of our podcast, episode 2 of 2. We like to punish ourselves, so we drink on the first one, then we bring a brewer to the second one, so we can continue to drink.
It's a rough onboarding situation.
Yeah, life could be worse. And this is something this would have been a couple years we were trying to get this gentleman on the podcast.
I mean, we're busy people.
He's been ducking us, but I think after Fresh went well, he's like, all right, let me answer this email. Who? You got the email thread of emails, but they're all incoming from the same person. Like
the DM, that DM, like, hey, like, hey, boo.
He sent a brewer, hey, big head email. Like, hey.
Saw you in the pictures looking good.
Then you start getting frustrated. Like, so you just gonna be out here? You gonna be out here at events, not answering emails? ...
They sort of screenshot you and shit. Like, look at this little bugaboo.
You ain't too busy to answer. I seen you at the movies. I saw you at the premiere of Toy Story 4. What the fuck is you doing? But we are very happy to have founder of Strange Roots Brewery, Dennis Hock, in the building. Say what up to the people.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, we caught you at this Toy Story release. We saw you.
Got that head.
You're like, that's the Hock head.
That is very true. That is very true.
It's a family staple. We know the Hock head when we see it, man. Answer the emails. You ever see somebody try to send them an email immediately? Like, okay, I see them, so he looking in his phone right now.
And you wait for it to look.
Let me just clarify. You guys didn't send me. You sent Mark the email. Mark's the one that sets that stuff up.
Yeah, throw him under the bus.
I am. I'm going to throw him under the bus right now. Throwing him under the bus right now.
Well, it's Game of Thrones off top.
And
he just
Joffrey.
Sorry, Mark, but it's the truth.
Yeah, sacrifice his man. It's like, yo, somebody got to I got to sit here with them for another hour.
Straight Lannisters out here. So anyway, for the folks that don't know you, you brew great and amazing things, but tell them who you are and how you got into these Strange Roots.
Well, so for starters, I've always worked with indigenous organisms in the area of Western Pennsylvania, right? So I was 17 when I started brewing. I'm going to be 38 this year, so that's 21 years now that I've worked.
Is that legal?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm again.
Cut that out. We're gonna.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's all right. No, Buzzy just gonna. It's gonna say I'm boop when I started brewing.
Yeah.
One day, Ed will learn that I'm not gonna edit any of this.
So long story short, so with all that time noticing the different organisms that are in this area, it's just like there's an abundance of wild critters that we can be using to make these beers, and that's what farmhouse brewing is based upon, and that's what we do. So when I originally opened up as Dry Log, and Dry Log again concentrated on spontaneous fermentation, wild beers, forage yeast, everything that we could do from a hyper local perspective. And then as we progressed, about a year and a half ago, that's when we changed our name. And at the time, I went through some ups and downs about changing the name, but the big thing was from an integrity perspective. So Strange Roots now buys yeast because we have to buy yeast to make IPAs and lagers and other clean beers that we decided to move into. And during that timeline, I didn't feel it was right because Dry Log heavily depended upon us culturing our own strains and capturing.
So you didn't
strains.
want to sell the same myth.
That's right.
And the same, product when it was a change. That's Jesus.
That's very ethical. Like
Thank you.
That's costly.
It was very costly.
Yeah.
Yeah. it was a tough decision, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody unless you absolutely have to do it for some ungodly reason. But at the time, and still to this day, I don't regret it. I don't ever regret it. You know, how could I sit there and say Dry Log was founded on that aspect, and that's what we do is Western Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania in general, I should just say. But, you know, yeah. So
I mean, once you get to a certain point of production, like, you know, I'm guessing that's what it was, just like the volume that you had, or was it just the variety? That
you mean to switch over into what we do? Honestly, no, it was because we got bored. We got bored. Honestly, we did. And we were seeing how, you know, I've never been a huge IPA fan in the past. I honestly wasn't. However, over the years, like, your flavors always change. So, you know, like, you try something new and then, you know, you steadily work yourself into it, and before you know, you love it. And it's like, I don't necessarily love IPAs, but I respect them very, very highly because I see some differences of what people are doing now, and it's not the gimmicky, just bam, bam, bam. There's a process, and it's just as specialized as sour beer. They're just on two ends of the spectrum. So when you see that, you appreciate that craft that much more. And that's a lot of why we decided, hey, listen, we want to make different beers. We want to expand ourselves outside of just wild and sour beer. So it wasn't necessarily a monetary thing. It was more on the lines of just, we wanted to get creative in other places.
Oh, challenge yourself.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And one of the beers I brought with me today, I think you guys are really going to dig, or you'll absolutely hate. But it's, again, a challenge, man.
I mean, I'm digging this. What is this that I'm drinking right now?
Right? Yeah. So this is one of our IPAs. It's called Refracto. So it's I believe it's a single hopped IPA. And quite frankly, I'm going to tell you, I'm somewhat ignorant towards our IPAs because I'm not the one leading the way on our IPAs. And I'm learning about them right now. So I'm going to, again, be honest with you. I don't know everything about them. If you want to talk about sour beer, I'll tell you anything you want to know about sour beer that I have seen.
Do you have like a degree in, like, you know, biology or anything? Like, what's
You do.
Yeah. So I was originally supposed to end up in academia, and I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So I actually published in herpetology, and my study was primarily going to focus on venom. So reptiles and amphibians, man.
Okay, I didn't know what that was.
I know what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say, what is that?
Trying to be adults here.
No. See, I wasn't even.
Too.
I just never heard of it. I wasn't. I know where you were going with that, and I just didn't. I'm like, what? I want to be like, what the fuck was that?
I saw it in your face.
I know.
My face was like, what the fuck was that?
I saw them both.
You
y'all's
can't
faces.
say nothing with hurt without.
I know.
Anything with hurt gotta have
know.
an explanation immediately followed.
Well,
herpetology. I know a couple Jones that got some herpetology degrees.
I mean, you're talking about amphibians. It is just a different type of scale.
I had never heard of that science at all.
Yeah. Well, it's either way.
Everybody got that joke with us all. They'll get it in post.
Yeah.
No. I see where. I'm trying to be an adult, bro.
So wait,
some of our listeners are afflicted right now. They dealing
it's
with
reptiles, folks. It's reptiles,
lizards,
snakes,
yes,
frogs,
turtles, and craft beer is STEM. I mean, I try to tell people all the time.
That's absolutely correct.
Your background is chemistry, it's physics, it's biology.
You're absolutely right.
So you got to academia, and what was your focus in biology?
My focus, again, was herpetology, but I did a lot of biochemistry and biophysics. And then as I progressed, I started into a graduate program. And as I got through that graduate program, I got accepted to a doctoral program to finish out the rest of that master's degree and then start on my doctorate. And what I realized at that point in time is that I was doing some research at the Carnegie Museum, and one of my focal points was down there. And, you know, nothing against the folks that work down there, but it's just like you realize at some point in time, you're smart, and you're smart in that one area, right? Mm-hmm. And you could write a paper, and it would be one of the most brilliant papers you ever wrote, and maybe 12 people in the world will read it. Or you could take your paper and put it in a bottle, and maybe 100,000 will read it. But they'll read it in a different method. And that was the defining moment in my soul to say, look, man, you've been doing this longer than anything else, right? I mean, I've been doing it for that long. It's just like, I loved it, and it's liquid art, and that's the way I look at it. You know, I always say this, but it's like brewers and artists are one and the same. The only difference is my canvas is in a glass. And that's the truth. All these
emphasis
beers
in the
are
glass.
expressing one thing out of that person that's making it, thinking about it, creating it, pulling it together. And then when you add the advent of not having the ability or the crutch to purchase yeast or to do just to buy a guaranteed this is going to ferment this beer, you have to physically go in the woods and get it and bring it
You
back
challenge
and make
yourself.
it work. That's exactly right. And it's getting to know them though too. Every one of those organisms has a personality. People just don't realize.
Yeah,
it.
I mean, what this is basically what, like yeast piss,
Wait, what? What do you mean?
alcohol,
Oh, yeah, it's basically
yeast piss.
I wouldn't say it's piss, but yeah, I guess I guess you're right.
That's a hard thing to just.
It's a valid way to say it, though. It's a very valid way to say it.
It's like
Yep.
liquid
It's
yeast.
you know what I mean. You got to know your organisms, man. You know what I mean, like, and what you do. It's a relationship. you
Yeah,
know?
Yeah,
you're
no,
absolutely right.
It's a relationship with the earth. So
And some of them like each other, and some of them don't like each other, and then you just have
such
to
is
know.
life.
Yeah.
now you gotta be playing matchmaker. And
Yep.
shit, you
People
know what I mean?
fighting in there. You got to take the fights out. You got to say, "Hey, play nice," and it's
It's like
just
love and
domestic
hip hop
disputes.
in a fucking keg. Love
that's
and
actually a
hip-hop.
great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. How did you enter so early? Like, what at that early age? What craft were you drinking, or had you been
I
exposed?
wasn't at the time because obvious reasons, but at the same time, I was
Brewing.
interested in what the product was. I mean, think about this. Put it into perspective. You got a single-celled eukaryotic organism. That means it's an animal cell.
Mhm.
It has a membrane-bound nucleus, and that little guy can make the same biocompounds that's in a pineapple that grows on a tree thousands of miles away, right? And it's the same biocompound, and you think that somebody put pineapple in that beer, and there's no pineapple in it. Isn't that amazing?
Fucking wizards.
So you know what's
Yeah,
crazy?
dude.
goddamn
Big time.
alchemy, man.
Yes.
Like that's what that. I'm like, how the fuck did you make this?
Isn't that
taste
impressive?
Like this?
It's very
that's turning lead into gold.
Yeah, dude. And it's getting to know that critter to know when are you gonna make that
Right.
pineapple, man?
Yeah, really knowing the ins and outs of that organism, and it's crazy because we've had people come talk science before, but I don't know if we've ever had someone come and their entry was the interest in the science of everything, as opposed to like the beer. Like there are brewers who are very science heavy in their explanation or whatever, but like it seems like your interest was, well, this is a cool way to just challenge myself in science.
Yeah. And express yourself. Not only that, you know what I mean? I mean, you can express yourself in many ways through these products.
What's the I'm mad brew?
What's the what?
What's the brew you do?
Ooh,
when you're
angry
upset?
brew, like when you be like, ooh, Hive Alive. It sounds angry,
This is
That look because you want
Look
us
at
to
it.
drink that, and then
and it's
you
red.
take- you
It's all red.
this
it's
is
it's
drinkable.
an
Then
angry
you can
bottle.
bust somebody on the head with it after you finish drinking it.
Ooh, that's what you like. You bartender, give me a Hive Alive.
Give me a hive of
right.
life.
Finish that shit at the bar, and
That's right. Now, the beer that we started with was the Refracto. That's one of the newer IPAs that we have. The next beer that I want to take you into, I'm sorry, what's that?
no,
Okay, yeah.
You
This
captain
one's
in this ship
unlabeled.
now.
This one's unlabeled because that one's this one's also very special to me too, and we'll get into that. But that one right there is a saison, but it's a saison. Okay, I'll hold off on that. Okay. So, did you guys want to get into the first beer? Or you?
yeah, whatever the
Whatever
the next
you want
beer
us
is.
to-
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
We're
This is
on-
what I
we're on
really
your
want
shit
you to
now.
try.
This is you
Yeah,
captain in this.
All right.
You
All right.
taking us on a journey.
Bon
So-
voyage.
I
Let me
am going to
tell-
attack somebody with that hive of life.
Listen, and it'll do it too. This punt makes it that much stronger.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't get on my bad side. You won't be alive.
So the idea behind this beer, and it is a legal beer, the idea
shit.
was to see how far we could push wild yeast from a fermentation perspective. How high could we get it to go? And what could we do to it to really make it something different? So it's
I've
100.
never heard somebody start a description of a beer with "it's a legal beer."
Well, that's because
A
it's
lot of he got some shit in the top
Like,
that ain't been labeled. Some shit ain't got no label.
he gave the Fed warning, like, listen, for the motherfuckers in that ice cream truck.
Yeah, yo, some.
well, if you notice, there's a cork on it, but it's bottled in a wine bottle. Mm-hmm. It's 100% still. There's no carbonation, and it's a honey ale. Okay, and it's wild fermented still, and it's 78% malted barley, 22% orange blossom honey, and this is again fermented with wild yeast here in Pennsylvania. We have a peach version coming out soon too. The predicate one for this one was actually one that we put down in a bourbon barrel, and we released it at the brewery. So this tops out, and this is a low one for this one, but this tops out at 17.3%.
Okay.
Now, people that, when I drink it, I assimilate it, quite frankly, to the parts and the aromas of wild beer and honey. Okay. But it's like a white cognac mixed with a white port, mixed with some sort of mead characteristics, but it's very much wild beer.
This is a lot going on in this little, and y'all gotta, Buzzy will have pictures of this bottle. Like it's an unassuming, like, you don't know that all this is happening. And I guess that's what attracted you from the science perspective.
Is it mead?
Legally, no, it's not mead. Because if it was mead, it'd have to be 100% honey. Okay. And it's only 22% honey. That's right. This version. Some of the other, I'm sorry, but some of the other versions had a little more or a little less honey. You know, so we tell you the exact percentage, the type of honey that we use in it, everything. I refuse to put anything fake in what I make. I don't believe in doing that. No flavorings, no clearing agents. Everything's done naturally at what we do. Let me open this up.
Yeah. Okay.
So
we gonna just watch you do that. Like you got us, we all like over here. You can give us all like that's a 1-of-1 type of explanation.
Yeah, like
episode 2. We still trying to stomach that explanation, but it's funny because when you say this is legally beer, it's from the standpoint of, you know, from whatever the legal parameters of beer.
That's right.
Like 17%. Like that's wine.
It's a how. How often do you brush up against those limits? Like, do I know how to classify this? Is this beer versus is this not? Or do you always?
No, sometimes we bridge gaps of styles, which I think sometimes creates confusion in the market. Okay. But for the people that understand what we're trying to do and how we bring things together in that way, I think they appreciate it that much more because it's. I'm not saying that our beers are like these crazy unique beers, but I mean, there's a lot of unique things that we've attempted to do and the ways that we've projected to do them. I mean, our Grand Blue is made with the same organism that makes blue cheese. And it's actually that was a crazy one too. So everyone
everybody heard it. Everybody heard it. I'm a little I feel disrespected. We sit at the table. This motherfucker go come right at the table, bro. Excuse yourself.
He said cream cheese.
I said blue cheese, man.
Yo, that was such an authentic response. It was like a chick seen a fine nigga at the club. That was a 1990s. That was a 1990s movie response from a black woman seeing a black dude at the club. I was like, what did this girl's going? I was like, who the fuck just made that noise?
You guys are a crack up, man.
So, shit. I do find it interesting. Like,
here, let me use that
because. So I'm gonna taste this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, taste it.
So you said it's a honey ale.
It's a honey ale. Honey ale. Hey,
but no carbonation.
Man? No carbonation. You got to present yourself before you can try it, though. You have to tell yourself in your head this isn't gonna have any carbonation in it.
Oh no, I love. I don't know. I love the cask ales.
Yeah,
the Firkins or whatever they call it.
Yep.
I mean, like,
it has more aroma than.
That's wild. That's the wild organisms.
Like it jumps on you before it hits your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So like
that's like, man, it's a golden shower.
Damn,
bro, you gotta chill.
It is. Yeah. It is both.
You have got to chill.
It is both the excrement and the sex that we are experiencing here. The yeast multiplying.
Actually, yeah, I guess you're right.
And the excrement is alcohol, right?
That's a fair assessment. I've never heard it said that way.
Am I lying in
no,
man?
That? Yeah. Cheers to that.
I'm not cheering to nothing about a golden shower.
That's it's probably accurate.
I don't know. He has a thing about this. So.
No. I mean, it's. I wonder though. Do you think like eventually the industry is going to go to blurring the lines of style? Because in a lot of industries, as tech becomes more prevalent, like a lot of industries, established industries, they try to merge the functions of different, job positions and whatnot. Like in banking, basically, there's going to be tellerless banks everywhere now, where it's just a person who represents the bank. They can do some teller stuff, they can do some loan stuff. You know what I mean? So with beer, like, are they going to blur the lines of the traditional styles where you're just going and having alcohol? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't necessarily.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, you'll still have your Pilsners, lagers, you know what I'm saying? You'll still have some of the staples.
Yeah.
But I think people will start building their brands on just, being creative.
What is a style? You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. So here's the thing that I think is great. There's a beer for every time and everything that you do. There's a beer for every moment and every time. When you go fishing or whatever outside activity that you do, you don't want a sour beer. You don't want this beer. You probably want an inexpensive Pilsner just to quench your thirst and just drink some beer. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
There's a beer for every time and place that you do everything in your life. When you're sitting down, this might be something to enjoy with your girlfriend or your wife or somebody else or between friends with cigars.
Ooh,
but it doesn't
taste like cinnamon in that bitch or something?
No, there's nothing. No, it's just wild yeast, man. But that's the best part is just like as people start to trend in these offset waters of what really beer can be and how far you could push it. Okay. This isn't anything new. Sam Adams' Utopias is almost the exact same thing. The difference is they didn't do it with wild yeast. We did it with wild yeast.
But that's like a really important part, right?
What's that? The wild yeast part? For us, it is because it's one of our core values is to use what's available to you in the environment. That's why we function with our terroir, and that's why we work within nature that it gives us, and that's what we make.
Does that limit you on flavor?
I mean, not necessarily because it's not wholeheartely anymore, right? Because of the Strange Roots brand, we're allowed to now go outside of that.
I'm saying I would imagine does a certain area grow a certain type of yeast?
That's a good point.
Produces a certain type of flavor. Like, can you use
supply chain got to be on point?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Like, does different yeast and things of that nature grow in different?
Well, what we have experienced is that, and I think it's pretty much accepted now in the wild beer community in general, or the beer community overall, that understands wild beers and sours and spontaneous fermentation, that from time to time, from where you're at in the world, your terroir is specific to you. So weather patterns, wind patterns, these all bring in different successional populations of strains that may or may not be genetically the same or slightly different. So understanding that, in reality, it doesn't limit you. It opens you up for a lot more diversity. It's just how well you respond to that new friend that just invited himself in there and how well he works with others.
How long does it take to it basically sounds like you don't know what you're going to get because it's wild. So how do you control that?
What's the plan?
Yeah, how do you add that into a controlled environment? How do you control a wild thing?
You can't. So that's the other.
That's the
romance.
This is
wild thing, baby. Stop giving me curfews.
But these are in neat bottles. Look at these bottles. This is a controlled thing. You controlled this thing. It's a wild thing. How did you add wild? You don't know what's going to get to that. So.
Well, these are wild too, right? So it's just that level of wildness, and again, you start to know those strains as they come through, how they're going to react, and then you previously set it up. So, like all of our spawn beers, like we make a base malt, and other than the spontaneous roots, that is 100% Pennsylvania in a bottle. But what we'll do is we'll set it up in such a way that the base is, going to promote the organisms that we want rather than allow anybody to show up and make a ruckus,
Yeah.
So, and then as it sits in a barrel,
bouncers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's just hops, man. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah, it's just hops. It's aged hops that we age at our place.
Oh, you got to have the old heads.
That's exactly right.
The old heads know better. Listen.
Yep.
Grown is only for the grown is sexy. You know what I mean? 25 and up.
So you basically got to raise these organisms, like you got to.
Yeah, you gotta know them. You gotta know them.
You're little kids.
You got to introduce them to different environments. This how. All right, so you got to learn to play well with others, and you got to know your child. All right, so
and
he
honestly, it's frustrating.
Tim's house. Tim's wilding, fighting.
Yeah.
And from time to time, it's frustrating because you'll have it so far through, and then all of a sudden, something happens, and you're like, "It's not right. Why is it not right? Why isn't doing this?" And then you kind of backtrack through it, and you have to think through it, and then it might be just something with those strains that how they're incorporated. Maybe they need more laydown time. Most of the beers that you're going to try today, other than that saison and the IPA, yeah, for sure, man, they got to lay down for a year and a half sometimes.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
They got to get locked up.
Yeah, they get
put
set
'em in a
aside.
cocoon.
Damn right.
Come out a little butterfly. You better come out a butterfly or you get flushed.
Damn.
You getting flushed.
Yo, I want to put
Do you like this, by the way?
on ice and put it in a cognac glass.
It's white cognac.
That's exactly how I drink it.
He said it. He said white
He said
cognac.
it was white cognac.
He said white
I
cognac.
definitely
He
wanna put this
said
in
white cognac. He made a very specific.
No, I said white port.
A white port. Oh,
Yeah.
cognac and then white port.
Yeah.
All right, well, there we go.
I definitely want to put this. I thought you said white cognac too.
Hell no. Did I say?
I think you did.
I said white port. There is no white cognac.
So I didn't want to be like the dude that didn't know.
No.
So when you said it, I was like, all right.
There's no way I said
You got
that.
the, you got
Yeah,
the,
Buzzy
you
got
got
it.
the,
He got it
you got the
recorded. It's
Jamaican,
okay.
the
No
Jamaican
way.
Henny,
I was, yeah.
the Caribbean Henny.
I'm like, yo, I was about to Google white yak. Like I was about to fly somewhere just so I could get some white cognac.
Why
on
do
the
you
way
guys
back.
got to bust balls, man? I didn't say that. Did I say that? I didn't say that.
I think it was just. I think it was. Honestly, I think it was just.
We'll rewind it back. If you listen to this, rewind that back and tell us about it.
That's the first beer I want to put on ice, though. But I think that's dope.
Hashtag
Like,
rewind that back.
I think, the industry might be going, like, it went to all these crazy hopped up things, and it's coming back to Pilsner, but then it's just going to go to, like, well, what is beer? What can be beer? What can,
Yeah.
I think we haven't really pushed the limits. I think right now what we're dealing with is a lot of people trying. Now there's some people that are trying to do new experiments and learn new things and express themselves environmentally with what they might find. And on a national scale, I've talked to a lot of great breweries that found anomalies in their yeast strains that we don't experience up here, but they do down there or over here or whatever it might be. So you know that there's differences. It is yet to be really found out how far we could go. It's just taking that initial step for that brewery to say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate X amount of percentage to actually physically going out and finding new things. Because if you think about it, all the yeast, even the Germans use, the Belgians use, everybody use, it had to have started from a wild something, right? It had to start with something wild that over time, genetically, they just kept it going and it promoted whatever they, whatever the accents that the yeast strain gave you. So that means that there's probably billions of strains out here that we have yet to discover that are, I don't know, they could do something really interesting in beer.
So anywhere you are in the world that can grow yeast, you can probably grow some shit that you can't find anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Wow.
Isn't that neat?
All the yeast is beyond the wall.
Ooh.
That's
This
the North
motherfucker's
Wall?
giving it away for cheap.
But do you think that people? So does it frustrate you because again you have that scientific approach? So you like to challenge yourself, manipulate the yeast, etc. Do you find it frustrating that people just come in trying to just make beers? Just like, I want to just make an IPA. I just want to make a stout. I mean, like, does that frustrate you at any point?
No, not at all. And the reason that I'm saying that is because you can't drink this every day. You couldn't drink that every day.
You're in a bad place if
I
you drink
would
it
not.
17%.
That's exactly
Yes.
right. And that's what I'm saying.
Dude,
So
so-
there's a need for everybody in the market. There's a need for it. And there's nothing different that, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of breweries out there that don't have the hype value, but yet they're making tremendous, wonderful beer and they're never found.
Yeah.
They're never found.
Well, they got to come through the podcast.
That's
Yeah,
what
they
we here
should.
for.
They should.
Dude.
But that's my point. It's just like some people wake up and they say, look, I want to make the same styles over and over again, and I want to make this a money machine, and you're not in it for the money. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah,
But
you can't do art for the
that's
money.
the point,
man.
Dave. That's the
Like,
point.
That's not.
If
That
you have
sucks.
an artistic approach to it, that's where you'll find most of these weird people like me trying to find niches and stuff to fit it into. And everybody, it's a necessary thing. It's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
Yeast Hunters, the new series by Drinking Partners. Travel to different countries and do shit that we don't know how to do. picking up shit like, can we make?
The Golden Boys.
No.
So, what's the?
We
what's
have
the,
other bottles on the
Next
table.
beer?
This
All
is
right,
the next
we'll get to the
one on
next
mine.
one. First of all, did you like that beer or no?
No, I love that fucking beer, man.
Thanks.
It was actually it was like I felt like it had like some like am I crazy when I like some taste a little bit of like spice to it in some way, like some cinnamon
I
or
taste the
something?
spice as well, but there's no spices in it.
Oh,
It's almost
delicious.
like
Nothing.
it's like alcoholic apple juice. Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, you know what I
that's
mean,
fair.
like a pie kind
That's
of. You know
fair.
what I mean,
It's just good as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what but it's see, and now I feel weird because I wanted to say like it doesn't taste like beer, but it's like that. And then that goes back to I think the industry is going to go to a point where beer will be. The lines are blurred on what beer is. Like
Yeah.
there's the legal definition of beer, and then all of a sudden you're just going to get all this shit that fits within the context of that legal definition.
but even like those guidelines, like I mean,
Right.
like when you're talking about like competitions and things of that nature, these strict guidelines. But like, what about all the in betweens? I mean, like because that's where the art lives. As soon as you define a
Art
thing,
lives on the
a thing wants to
in-between.
be something different.
And that's honestly why I stopped doing things in competitions, because they don't. And fair enough, they define something of what it is, and you get it as close to possible as what that is, and that's perfection on the style, right? So people that live in the creative world are never going to meet that definition. So why, other than the specialty ones that they might have, but it might not be something that you actually intended it to be. And then you have to fit your style into some else's box, and it's just like it's never going to work. So I think that as we continue on in the beer world, I think there's still going to be a need for that, those standard styles and how well you can craft them. But this market over here, it's definitely a niche market, but it's for something different. I don't think a lot of people are going to do these things. I just don't. I might be wrong, but because it takes a lot of time. You're dedicated to this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you start doing that, especially spontaneous fermentation, it's a no-go. I mean, it could ransack your entire investment of your entire brewery in a very short period of time if you don't know what you're doing. And it's easier for us to start
It's
that
a
way.
wild thing.
Yeah, and it can be that fast too, man. I mean, it can spread that quick.
This is fucking phenomenal.
Yo,
Thank you.
Let me tell you how good this
Thank
beer
It's
has
got
been
the
so
funk
far.
to it,
Thank you.
man.
He's tamed episode 2 of 2.
Yeah. Yo.
We're just kindergartners sitting on that colorful mat, just listening. Like, yeah,
We're straight into teacher
the
mode,
fuck
bruh.
are you doing?
He said academia. This motherfucker.
I'm about to sit on this floor Indian style for real.
Dude, you got to call it crisscross applesauce now, man.
Oh, yeah. Yo, I think I said something like sitting Indian style today, and the crowd was like, "Nah, we can't laugh at that." And I was on stage like, "Why can't I say that?" Like, I don't even attribute it to anything but being young.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, okay, we had to sit crisscross apple. I'm not saying that. I'm grown as fuck. Crisscross applesauce.
Crisscross. I don't. What the
But
fuck?
That's what they
I'd
say.
eat this
I thought
with
that
some of
was
that
it.
cinnamon applesauce. This shit would be good.
Yeah, that's fair. This is actually foraged acorns.
It's got that funk. I like
It's
that.
acorns.
foraged
You're drinking
acorn.
acorns right now.
Is that? Are you serious?
Yeah, you're
I've
drinking
never
That's what
acorns.
the fuck I'm drinking right
That's acorns.
You know, I thought acorns only fed like chipmunks. I didn't
Nope.
even know if they ever.
Nope.
When
When the
other-
pilgrims came over here, they actually used acorns to make flour, man. I found that
Yeah.
out the other day. I didn't even know
I'd
that.
imagine.
I didn't even know that.
Well, I mean, they didn't know what the fuck they was doing for a Lord.
Oh,
portion
hell
of that
no.
Shit. So they were just like, listen, man, this is what we got. We
This
got.
is
We
what
got.
we're doing.
that's
corn
what we're doing.
stew.
Yeah, like fuck it.
Acorn bread. Acorn butter. Like
Fuck it. Hey,
acorn milk.
Live a
like,
little.
baby.
live a little.
Busting out some possum.
All the best shit came from I got this. Is what I got.
And smallpox. Like,
Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, if you grew up, you know what I'm saying, growing up, sometimes you just had to look in the cabinets and
Get some
this
acorns.
is what the fuck was happening. What you finna? Yo, we used to put sugar or jelly on toast. Hey, that was what we did.
oh shit.
That's
Yo,
fair.
shit. Shit. A good
Butter
a
and
good
sugar.
sandwich, man.
Oh, bruh.
Get the butter, like the toast with the
Bruh.
man.
Yeah, that's
Come-
what
come on.
the pilgrims did with acorns. My dad, when my dad introduced the syrup sandwich to me, I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, syrup sandwich? What's
Yes.
this?
It's syrup and bread.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good as fuck because my dad made it, and I was like,
Here we are.
Thanks, Dad.
We're alive.
Now, am I gonna go make a syrup sandwich for my kids tonight? No,
Probably not.
But when Pops had to, because you understand, as a father, I think the type of dad my dad was, when he was home with us during the day on the weekend, that was a very contentious like situation. He was like, "Yo, I don't know what I'm supposed. They need lunch. I don't know what they
Sustenance.
Like,
Like,
I don't know what to do. Like,
keep
man.
these motherfuckers alive.
where's the lunch meat? It's go time. He's crying. What am I gonna do? So like the syrup sandwich had a song. It's ain't no syrup. Like there was a song he sang, and he would make syrup sandwiches, and we fucking kids just happy like, yeah, eating syrup sandwiches.
Yeah. My dad.
If I called my sister on the phone right now and saying ain't no syrup, she'd shed a tear, man. I don't think my mom even knows that my dad used to do that. Like give us syrup sandwiches. She would probably been so upset. Like there's a whole. She'd have opened the pantry. It'd have been a whole bunch of real lunch shit in there. But he didn't know.
Syrup and bread.
He knew where the syrup was. He knew where the bread was, and he knew if we put syrup on bread, we wouldn't break out. That's how we had syrup sandwiches.
Yeah. That's what keeps you
God
alive.
bless
Like
that man.
I be eating some just on the go shit,
On the
and
go.
that's what you. Yeah, I mean, as the dad, like that's what you like. Listen, this is what we keep you alive, my brother.
I get that. I get that.
It was I don't know. Maybe he was trying to ferment the bread. I don't know. He was trying to ferment the Schwabels and see how it interacted with Mrs. Butterworth, or he was just too lazy to spread shit with a butter knife. I don't know. It worked out.
Yeah, I was. It was largely just poverty. Like I'm looking at like fridge, like those work. Like it's poverty and weed.
We didn't have the weed, but we had the poverty. Told you I was from Millville, didn't I?
Yeah, no, you from Millville? Yeah, well then, you definitely had the poverty.
Yeah.
And the water.
Oh, that too.
I can see why there's so much strange yeast down there. You know what I mean, like there's a lot of water, a lot of moisture down there.
Yeah.
Moisture.
Yeah, there's a lot of mold too, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. Not anymore though. The flood's all cleaned up. It's back to the way it was. It's actually better than it was. I mean, we talked about that briefly. I mean, Millville's a lot better than it used to be. That's a good thing, and I hope that we have contributed enough to that community to do it. But like all those businesses moving there, it's a nice place now. It's good.
Yeah, no, I mean it's dope. Like it's a
But
destination
back in the
spot
day,
down
it was
there.
definitely
I mean like they still got like, and that Millville is like the home of one of the few motherfucking repair shops. Like you can get your VCR repaired
Yes,
at
you
a
can.
shop
If
in
you
Millville.
can.
That
and
shit,
electric motors are Daniels across the way from us.
Yeah.
It's like an old
Yo,
school motor
that's-
from like the 50s. They're like, oh yeah, we know how to fix that. And then you get the bill, and it's like $42. It's like, what?
Where they really?
Don't
Like,
make
I'm about
thanks,
to just-
man.
Yeah, I'm about to
Thanks.
throw this motherfucker off and just
If
bring it
I
back. Like,
get in your car, you have a broken VCR in your car, ready to
Bruh.
be taken to get repaired.
I
bro.
got
That is
TVs.
true.
I feel like if you know how to repair the VCR and you've been in the game this long, like you got a brick and mortar, I can bring my TV and you could be like, all right, here's what I'm gonna spit
Yo, the
shine this
TV
motherfucker,
repairs,
like kick it up, like jury rig it, throw some gum and put it back together, and I got a TV for
That
another
is a
5 years.
real
'Cause
decision,
all we
though.
do, we throw everything away these days.
Yes, we
but
do.
That's a
Yes, we
decision.
do.
Like when your TV's broke, you like, all right, am I?
It's an excuse to get a new one.
But there's
as
a whole
opposed to,
industry
like-
now on that. They take your TV and grind it up and melt any precious metals inside your TV and basically keep it.
Oh, crackhead's been doing that for years.
You ain't never seen a motherfucker running down the street with copper.
with a shopping cart
Oh,
full
that
of
is
copper.
true. That is true.
So I had a dude. We was cleaning out my grandfather's garage. A dude came and packed that up in his pickup for $50. He's like, "Yeah, I'll get all this." and I'm standing there like, "Yo, why is he doing this just for $50?" And I thought about him like, "Yo, he about to. First of all, he did that in less than an hour, so that's
Yeah.
$50 an hour.
Yep.
And then he also was about to take that somewhere
and then
sell it.
re-up. Yeah.
Like he ain't
That's
gonna,
true.
he make what $20-$30 fine, but now that's an $80 hour, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to do that. If you could string 5 of those hours together, like that's a good day.
That is a good
It's
day.
a good day.
That is a good day.
All right, damn.
True. That's a good week.
I'm past that being a good week. Like,
Nah, I
400
am.
for a
I'm
week.
just
That's
saying.
hurting for me.
There's a place in people's lives, especially here in Pittsburgh with this low cost of living. That's a shit, $80 a day, man. Motherfuckers don't make a whole lot around here.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
that
fair.
low cost of living, there's an expiration date on that. 'Cause these breweries keep
I'm
popping
not
up.
saying that it's a good thing that motherfucker.
People keep saying, if a brewery is going up in that area, you need to buy property there. So, yeah, these
a good
breweries
point.
keep popping up. That low cost of living go away. Get
Yeah.
your land now. That's all I'm saying. Get it now. Get something. Hold on to it and flip it. Do whatever. Wait till the bubble bursts and then move out of here.
He's got a whole plan figured
When the
out.
bubble
He's got a
bursts, you
whole
gotta
plan
go.
figured out.
Dude, no.
When the bubble bursts, you gotta go,
I don't know.
bro. I'm not saying.
I'm in it for the long run.
I'm
man.
not saying the housing market is going to completely tank, but 600,000 for a duplex in Lawrenceville is a bit excessive.
I would agree.
No, I'm not in any
I
parts
would
of
agree
that.
with that.
No.
I would agree with
Bit
that.
excessive.
Yeah, no. It's like, what are you doing? Why?
Motherfuckers coming from other states, they come different time zones. They
Yeah.
buying that shit up quick. Be like, bruh,
Really?
you was the only person who put an offer in on that.
You know who-
You ain't want to negotiate that at all.
You know who he used to be with? Like, you
Oh, I hear the stories about old Lawrenceville. I'm like, really?
Oh man.
I've never
Look,
seen that. in
I
Lawrenceville.
left and came back, and like one was like, let's go to Lawrenceville. I was like, for what? But then it was, man, now,
Yo, you
now,
on that shit now? You want that? You need to go to Lawrenceville. You about to hit the strip, bro? Cop up? your man's like, let's go to Lawrenceville. He like, yo, you trying to cop up?
You got beef?
Like, what are you doing?
Like, what's the backstory, bro? Like, and then I came down there, and the last thing I expected was like all that fucking baloney. I was just like, I was like, shit.
It's
It was
crazy.
completely different mean, but like now, I don't know.
It's strange roots in Lawrenceville.
Nah, they don't know.
No.
Man.
No,
Millville.
I'm not saying the brewery. I was
No, they got beef. I feel like there's a Millville,
that went over
Lawrenceville
both of
beef.
y'all
Like,
heads. I'm saying the roots of Lawrenceville strange. Like they're
oh yeah, they don't have some.
Not like-
they have some strange.
God damn, yo, you gotta
yeah,
explain your
yeah.
joke. That shit bomb. Yo, if you say some shit on stage and start to explain it, that shit bombed, yo. Oh my god, I just embarrassed my family. My daughter gonna be listening to this episode like, Pops, come on.
Don't
man.
pronounce it. I hope you pronounce your first name in the beginning of the system. It's over.
Yeah, it's a wrap. I've embarrassed her. My bad, boo. I thought they was gonna catch it. That
What's-
shit did not fly.
What's next?
Yeah, that's what I've been waiting.
I
You
did-
need
I
that
did-
lifeline for real.
I did say that. I did want to say that Bloom Brew down in West Newton did an Acorn beer a few years ago. It was
Yeah.
kind of like it was like all these like.
Oh, did
remember we were not we did that like all these like black acorns that they just like ground up and put into this fucking like. I guess it was a.
I don't
stout.
remember that, but I because that
Maybe
would
a
have
quarter.
maybe and maybe I just forgot.
But it
about
was
that,
more of
because
a. It was
never-
more of the like dark roasty like you know what I mean kind
Yeah.
of characters to it. Whatever.
Well, what we learned about acorns is that first you have to soak them because there's so much tannin in them. So
Tannin?
yeah,
don't know what
tannin.
that is.
Well, tannin's typically in wine. No, it's in wine, man. So it's like you ever drink a Chianti and it's like real dry, makes your mouth go like that.
Yeah.
That's tannin, and it's grape tannin. There's no label on this. Oh damn!
No, we all right.
All right, okay.
Tannin. That's just a
Tannin.
shorty. I think there's a
Tannin,
chick
man.
used to
Wait,
live down the
what's
street from my cousin named Tannin.
Now this beer,
They try to go for Tannin.
Hold on.
Oh,
Say
my
that. Say that one more time for the people like me who were like. So, what's a tannin again? You said it's in wine.
yeah. So tannin
a
comes
thought.
from the grape skins themselves. It's I don't know. I mean, if you can look it up, it's just basically I guess it's technically a chemical. I don't know, or a byproduct of the wine skins. I haven't really researched.
And it's
it.
the dryness that you.
Yeah. So if there's a
Oh,
lot of tannin,
Shit, that's dry as.
that's a
like it's-
saison.
It
That's
like
why it's dry.
leaves you thirsty.
Yeah,
Say that
well,
again? That's a what?
saison.
This is a saison.
That's a saison, but that's an indigenous. That's a Western Pennsylvania saison.
Hey, Buzzy.
God, Western PA motherfuckers always. This is a Western PA saison.
That's because of yeast. There's a house culture with it, but then it's wild yeast that we collected outside as well.
I don't understand any of this science that you spewing.
Shit,
I
that
just
is like.
know that your
like-
flavors are unique like this is not. I'm not an expert, but none of the saisons that I've had have been like this.
That's because it's traditional. So ours is traditional.
Okay.
So if you go out and you buy saison yeast, you basically bought the same saison yeast probably everybody's using. I don't know. I'm guessing, right? Our saison yeast is different, and there's breweries that are artisanal style breweries that do this, where they go out and they'll. I mean, what's the name of the brewery in Philly? I can't remember the name. Forest and Maine. Forest and Maine have been doing it since pretty much inception that I know of. And those guys out there, they go out and they collect the yeast from what I remember from the same tree every single year. And that strain is actually, it's been categorized. It's called Diastaticus. And that type of strain, it's still a Saccharomyces strain. So it's still a yeast strain. But that's just what it's called. That's the name, right?
Just roll through.
Yeah.
Like,
So listen,
it's gonna drop. It's gonna drop that little, like, I mean,
So-
sprinkle the academia in
Sound
there.
like that. I
Sprinkle
thought
the-
diastaticus was like a medical term. or
Yeah,
something.
and I thought it was a book that they used to peddle in the 80s.
Thought it had something to do with your blood pressure. Or
better
something.
read
Hey,
your
what's that?
Diastaticus. Better read your Diastaticus.
Ain't that Scientology?
I don't know what. Bro, I mean, I commend you for keeping up. I've been lost since. What's good with you people? I've been lost since then.
He shut down. He shut down.
I'm just over here like, man, this motherfucker really know what's going in this beer. Like,
Well,
but it
thank
just seems
you.
like a different level of like it's almost like you watch the bubbles pop and be like, okay, that happened to that yeast reacted.
I wish I could
this
see
way.
that. I wish I could
it's-
see that.
I totally respect the control you have over a wild thing.
Thank you.
You
I
have
really
to have
appreciate
so
that.
much control to rein in. Like shit, that's why they make leashes for children. You got to rein in. You got to rein in that wild child.
I never
but
did
even when
that.
you got a leash, but no, seriously, even when you see somebody with a leash on their child, they understand the child. Like you can't constantly struggle against pull. Like even with you got dogs or whatever, like you can't be
Yeah.
pulling them every time. You got to give them some
Little bit
leeway to do what they, and then when they've reached that limit, he got out of pocket and a little tug, and they come
Yeah.
back. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to do that with this shit.
Why the fuck does like that feel like when you drink it? It's like it fills your whole like mouth, and then when you drink, and it just kind of like it's dry. Like you said, it just like kind of pulls.
Because there's very little fermentable sugar left in it, so it's almost dry, right? But it's not
is
sour.
That is that like a brute? Like is it then like because with the brute
That would be something that you probably relate it to.
it's just
But
a
it's
saison.
But all saisons are typically very dry, traditional saisons. I mean, if you go into a random brewery and they make a saison, you got a 50-50 shot of whether it's done the farmhouse methodology way or if it's done where they just buy the strain and just make a saison. But saison itself spans so much. I mean, there's so many ways. Have you ever had any beers from Fantôme?
No.
Okay, so if you have Fantôme, you got a good shot of getting Pediococcus in your Fantôme. Now, hold on before you jump on that. Give me 1
you
second.
can't say that to me.
I know that. I know. So let's. So
Is it
that's
a foot funk? Is that something
no,
you get in
no.
your toes?
that's a critter that you typically see in spontaneously
critter.
fermented beer. Yeah, I call
They're
them
all
critters.
they're animals.
I call them critters.
These are all.
So Fantôme, although it's a traditional made saison, it's got more of a tartness than it does a dryness. So this obviously is dry. It's what we call attenuated, right? There's no available sugar left in it. It's a summer. It's made for that timeline. It's dry. It's thirst quenching. You can drink a lot of it. The ABV is not very high.
Yeah.
And again, you're drinking Western Pennsylvania. You're drinking, what's available to you in the general area. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a pop.
There's an immediate like bite.
Yeah.
No, not like with a sour that bites, but it's almost like you just feel something latch onto you. Like, yeah, we here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like it.
And it's usually a higher CO2 volume too. So it's spritzy.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah,
It's definitely
that's what I'm saying.
spritzy.
Like the like the
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. You're pushing 2.5. Well, probably higher than that. More on the lines of about 3 volumes of CO2. So if you'd put this in like a saison glass, it'd have that nice little pillowy head, and they would, just like the Belgians, it would marshmallowy.
Man,
But yeah, that's
pillowy head would be great.
Is it appropriate to burp at bars?
Is it appropriate to burp at bars?
People say, burping out loud.
I'm saying, what bar you at?
Or food environments in general.
Matter, though?
Yeah, what is like?
If you can see that I've done my best to make this respectable, then respect it.
Okay,
Like,
so we
just
doing
like-
loud burps, or we
Just
doing
like,
just
if I'm just
Just
sitting there and
burp.
just like with my mouth, like, nah, don't do that.
No,
But
that's
if you-
not a-
If you hit with the fist over the,
Oh, well,
you know
then
what I mean?
that's
I tried
anywhere.
my best to mute it, but this is a body.
But like,
function.
why? But like,
Well,
why?
that's
Why
normal.
really
I'm not gonna
mute it?
tear my ear.
That's
I'm not
normal.
gonna tear my insides up to
But wait,
make
we
you
s-
feel good about your dinner.
Why mute it? You're just like you're in it. You're doing it. You're doing what is. This is a food environment. This is a fucking like
Because,
it's a beer.
bro, I'm not
You're
a Neanderthal.
ingesting.
Like, I'm
You're
not just gonna be standing there just like you ain't a
That's
Viking.
true. That's
like,
true.
You a grown.
so what are you going? You like
All you're doing is releasing gas.
yeah. So
Okay,
why?
so-
Why is that a hindrance?
Do you fart out loud?
I mean, no.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
the
fair.
same function
That's
of
fair.
releasing gas.
That's fair. It's
But
just
it's
from
good,
an
but
releasing
a
gas.
gas. But a gas here. The reason why I don't fart out loud is because I don't want motherfuckers to pin that on me. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm
Well, why
like,
you want them to
It's the
pin the
same
belch
shit.
on you?
no,
Whoa,
the belch. I don't care about the belch because it's not like I'm leaving you with a terrible smelling environment.
Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
no,
Whatever
yeah,
you ate garlic
Ain't
chicken wings or something.
Whatever you
Ain't
ate.
nobody
Oh,
burping and then
no.
the whole room starts to smell.
Shit.
Like, yeah, I mean,
no.
I'm worried about the motherfucker next to me.
Yep.
Nah, I
And
don't
that
know what
motherfucker
kind of.
goes
I
It
don't
so
know
just
what-
ate a shit ton of blue cheese or
Go ahead,
whatever
belch.
else.
Just
and then you do
okay.
that,
Well,
and
then belch out
there
loud.
we go.
Then, you
There we
savage.
go.
Fucking savage.
Yeah, man.
Ain't nobody
Why
like,
can't I just belch out loud?
like we out, we eating, we just doing the damn thing. We out.
Yeah, I'm
we'll go
trying.
elsewhere.
I'm not gonna be sitting at a dinner table eating, and my girl go. "Bah." And I'm like, what the fuck? Come on, like,
Yeah.
you got this
making
nice
room.
ass dress
Let's
on,
get
and
it
you
done.
just go.
Go.
"Bah."
Especially
Like,
if
come
it's
on.
somewhere nice, man.
Come on.
Yeah,
Oh,
somewhere
man.
nice. So
Just saying, somewhere nice.
That's what, listen. If I'm paying for this shit, if I'm like really paying money for this, I'm gonna be the most comfortable. Why would I not burp as loud as I can
I'm
in
not
the most
uncomfortable.
easy?
Just you-
Man,
Look,
the comfortable.
it doesn't
listen,
mean that your
you mean to
burp
tell me
can't
that
make a
the more
sound.
money you spend,
See,
the
I just
harder
burped right
it
then.
has to be for you.
That ain't
Just-
it.
I
to-
literally-
to
So
belch.
say you take your girl,
Yes,
say
I
you take your
literally
girl to a
just
nice
belch.
dinner.
You're over-
You take her
you're
to a
overpaying
nice
for
dinner.
it.
You're trying to be special to her. You're trying to give her a little bit of your time. You're trying to be relatively
see, listen,
romantic, man.
listen,
And then if you're at a bar with your buddies, then it's what the hell? Why not? I mean,
Well,
that's
if you're
a
at the
different
bar with
story.
your buddies, I'm not gonna look at you if you belch like, come on.
No,
fam,
yeah,
let's
that's
come
exactly
on.
right.
But
So
I'm
I'm saying
just
there's a
saying, like,
time and
I
a place
just
to
belch
do it.
because y'all don't know. I just you just right there, like let it go.
Yeah.
Like, it comes out, but it's why
quiet
you gotta
it.
be
Muffle
grotesque
it.
about the shit.
Muffle
Like,
I'm not trying to be grotesque. I'm just trying to be efficient. He's just going in.
This was not.
If you just go to the
efficiency.
side, if you
Yeah.
just go
What
to
you
the
just
side,
did was to
you know what I
cover
mean?
it. You
Yeah,
just-
you cover it.
Well,
That's all
wait a
I was
second.
saying. So
Wait,
we arguing
listen,
about
I'm not-
nothing,
all
bro.
right, man.
You agree
I was
with
gonna
what
say,
I
'cause
said?
I'm not-
what if you
but-
sneezed? You do the same thing.
Like I'm not gonna
Do the same thing.
hack my my fluids all into your
Well,
shit.
that's what I'm
I
saying.
didn't
So
say you
but
gotta
I'm
go
not gonna
get
muffle my
like a-
sound. I'm
If
not
you
like
cover
or
it,
hold
that's-
it in the sense like, oh, let me hold like.
If you
yeah,
belch,
but if you're
your
covering
arm
it-
is gonna muffle it a bit.
I
Just
would
like
agree.
if I belch into
I
a
would agree.
fist. I belch into a fist.
It's a
you
valid
belch
point.
into your arm.
It's a very valid
Like it's
point.
not any different.
Nope.
Like,
I would agree with that.
I'm not saying go get a mask and then put your head under a pillow. And, you ain't gonna do all that, but just a showing. It could even make noise. But if I see that you tried to do something,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
The effort was made.
An effort
Something.
was
It's
made.
just
An
like when
effort
I was
was-
just like when you in the car, somebody crossing the street. Like if they cross leisurely, you mad. But
Yeah.
if a motherfucker give you that shoulder bop, like he
Doesn't even have to be moving fast.
Yeah, you don't. You can just walk and look like you try and move a little quicker.
We'd be like, okay,
You
that's
okay with that? Like,
That's all right.
You got
I
a
agree
Harlem
with
shake
that.
across the car. Yeah, I mean, you got a Harlem shake the whole time.
I'm the king of one. I do the run stride up top and be walking slow as fuck. I don't care. Just make you feel
I
bad.
hate to say it, but I do the same damn thing.
Yes. I mean, I have the right of way.
I get it. I get it.
But I understand that you don't want to sit here and watch me cross the street. Like, I get it.
Oh, so what's next?
We got one
Okay.
We
more.
got one more in here. I
One more.
believe.
So,
So this is PA bread,
no, this
No?
is PA everything.
PA everything.
So this is our spontaneous roots.
Well, when I said bread, I meant like
Oh
it was
yeah.
bread here.
I got it.
Yeah.
So spontaneous roots to me is very precious in my mind, only because everything in here is Western Pennsylvania. It took us 4 years to pull it together. Why? Because we wanted to make it in the same tradition as they make it in Belgium for their typical goose. The difference is we wanted to make it
The GE goose, like the goose.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Word.
So we wanted to make sure that although we were following or roughly following that tradition, we wanted to make it special to Pennsylvania. And we can't call it goose, and we're not trying to call it goose, and we're not trying to call it lambic. It's Pennsylvania sour ale, spontaneously fermented. All the grain was grown here. All the hops were aged here in our facility, and they were grown here as well. All the fruit that's sourced for it is grown here, and it's all 100% spontaneously fermented and aged in barrels. So it's a 1-year-old beer blended with a 2 to 3-year-old beer, and sometimes 2 and 3-year-old beer, re-fermented in the bottle and then laid down for yet again another year. So there's a lot of time.
Yo.
So what was that total? How many?
It can be up to 4 years total.
So as he pours this, I want y'all to know I text my family in the group chat like, remember when Pops used to sing "Ain't No Syrup"? Yo, my mom's just called me. I told you she ain't know nothing about it. I didn't want to put her in on that group text. Like shit, she gonna be like, what does he mean?
Buzzy.
Buzzy, you want some?
Yeah, Buzzy wants some.
There you go. Yeah, and then,
All right, here we
if you
go.
don't mind, bring it back because I
The
need some
crescendo.
myself.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I feel, is it cool to do that in an empty glass?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
man.
There's a little bit
Did I
left.
disrespect
like it.
you, or I don't know, but I just did.
I feel like I'm being set up. Like this is when we pass out and he just robs us.
Oh shit!
He's just like we wake up and be like, what the
I'm
fuck?
not that diabolical.
I don't
Diabolical.
Look, you can take all my debt. I don't give a fuck. You want to take the debit card to an overdrawn account? Be my guest.
Please.
Okay, what style is this?
Woo!
Because this
Giz.
activates.
Oh.
those- I'm talking about them little nerves in that cheekbone that never get activated. Till
That's
you
right.
drink beer.
The gears.
So this would
Sour
be
ale.
considered a spontaneously fermented sour ale, but a Pennsylvania spontaneously fermented.
Pennsylvania gears.
There you go.
Nah.
But you can't call it that.
No, you can't go.
No, you can't
Peaches
call it
came from
that.
The peaches came from Pennsylvania as well.
Yes. That's the rule that we make with spontaneous roots beers is that everything has to come from Pennsylvania. Woo! All the way on down.
Integrity.
That's why they go, is that good? Everything else good.
What the fuck did you just say?
That's why they call it a good. Is that good? They be like, yeah, that's good. That's good.
It is good.
Thank you.
It's a good girls.
So, I mean, I'm just, I love it just because it's obviously what we're drinking. It came all from here, but then on top of that, the amount of time that went into it, you know.
Ooh.
Right, you said you blended a 1 and a 2 year with a 2 and a 3 year with a 4.
Yeah. No, it's then
still
it lays
going.
down. It lays down in a bottle for a year. So this is the 2018 vintage. That means it was bottled in 2018 at the very beginning of 2018. Typically, we're bottling right around January, February, based upon whatever comes out of spawn season. And the wonderful thing about spawn season is that you can only do it a certain time of year.
Spawn season being
Spontaneous fermentation. Yep. You can only do it for a very short period of time where fall starts to crest into winter and winter into spring. During that timeline, as long as the outside.
Winter. Winter turns to spring. Hey, I used to love the Brady Bunch movies. When it's time to change, you've got to rearrange. Everybody watch the Brady Bunch movies. I don't care.
I did watch it. I didn't even watch the show. I used to watch the beginning of it, like that little intro, and then I would turn it always. But when the movie came out, it was kind of funny.
It did. I don't know. It's like what? Okay, I say it. As a black dude, like young, there were certain white movies you can watch. He was like, you watch that too?
Yeah,
Okay, cool,
man,
cool.
it was a closet. It was definitely a closet movie for
Yeah,
a while.
you gotta
Yeah.
find your friend. Like, yeah. Some Brady Bunch shit you just said.
He said, "Yeah, you reference it." You know.
Okay, when it's time, you just sit there, shut it, na 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 na, shut it, na na na, na na na. All right, so
Well,
I
this has
always
been
go on random tangents. This was an experience.
yeah, this was a nice capper right here.
Thank you.
It's like I said, it gets you in there, and it just keeps giving.
I don't know. I just started. It activated a weird sweating gland on me, right here at where my bicep meets my forearm.
Man,
That's dope. That's spontaneous. Spontaneous
There you
sweat
go, man.
beer.
There you go.
I like it.
I don't know, like it just like the way it just opens up. It goes in so many different places as it goes from you drinking it to you like just kind of swishing around, and then when you swallow, there's a different.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster, man.
And it does that based upon temperature too. Colder you drink it,
Really?
some things are muted. Yeah, I mean, sour beer is honestly one of the most diverse and expanse from a flavor perspective. This is why I personally don't like kettle sours as much as maybe other folks do. I really dislike kettle
because
sours.
it's just more of a kind of one-dimensional.
That's exactly
fruit,
right. You hit it right on the head.
as
And
opposed
it's
to that
like-
funk.
But then on top of that, you didn't spend the time working with them. You didn't spend the time knowing what they do and how they develop and everything involved, you know?
Yo, because everybody heard the sound and nobody.
I know,
What the,
I
what the
know.
fuck was that? So okay, so sours basically your experience with a sour is changed by the environment. Like it's unique to
A specific environment.
all
yeah.
of the variables,
Yep.
temperature. Okay, I like that. I like.
Yeah.
Okay, you drink a beer and never taste the same.
That's exactly right. And in my opinion, that's the best part about them, you know?
I want to drink all of your beers
Thank you.
because I don't know. It's just you. Every time you taste, it's like a story.
But try something different and then go back to
Yeah,
it.
you can feel it. Like, then go back.
Yeah,
now we
it's
going
interesting.
back
We
around.
got time after this.
Yeah,
You got
after
to
this,
touch
yeah,
that.
so-
though. I get it.
All right,
Our
yeah, well,
producers gotta
yeah.
run. We're gonna leave
Yeah,
them
well,
with a mess as we
We'll get a
sit here.
part 2 going at some point.
Yeah, but let the people know where they can find you.
So we have a facility, obviously, in Millville. It's our tap room. And then we have a manufacturing facility up in Gibsonia, which also has a tap room as well. So you're free to go to either facility. And hopefully I see you there. We'll get a beer together.
Nobody ever says that. I wonder why brewers don't say that. They let the people know where they can find it.
If you're looking for us, we'll probably be at Strange Roots at some point.
We might float over there tonight.
You can also find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play, and Spotify under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. You can find us July 20th at Arcade Comedy Theater, arcadecomedytheater.com. And you can find us July 27th at Comtra Theater at comtratheater.ticketleap.com. You can find us August 10th at Nova Place, freshfestbeerfest.com.
All right, listen. We want to thank Dennis for coming through. I really, really respect your story. Really respect, the integrity. Your influence on the beers is definitely prevalent. Like just the knowledge that you have, that shit is crazy. Like to be able to rein in these sours, these wilds, to be able to control the variables to a certain extent, obviously. Like I do respect that a lot. Great beer. There's always, I'm out of breath because on episode 2 my asthma is activated. So Drinking Partners is the crew, Epicast is the family, and we out of here.